Hello there, Nerf fans. This is John with ContainmentCrew, and I'm back here again with the Rapidstrike. And if you remember from our review and internals video, the one that we picked up early actually didn't work. We couldn't return it, so I've been waiting for a couple of replacement motors to come along because I've decided that it is indeed a good idea to mod this since it doesn't work in the state that we got it. So this is probably going to be a very jumpy, cutty video where I'm just basically going to do some work and then come back and talk about what I've done, because I'm not sure exactly which circuits don't work and what I may have to repair. It looks like I'm noticing a couple of wires in there that look like they've been kind of crimped off, and that might be part of the problem. But you know, basically I'm just gonna go through, do some things, and then come back on camera and talk about what I did. So see you after the cuts. Alright guys, so in preparation for switching out my motors, I have gone ahead and pulled the motor cage all apart. These are my new motors. I popped out the old ones. It's not too much going on there. There is this strange yellow lead that was on them. It's going to the motor casing. I'm not really sure why. I guess it's some sort of extra ground path or something. I didn't really trace it back on the board correctly, but this is the little board that was hiding under there. This is the side that's facing out to you. We can see that got all our big old plates here, but you got our little capacitors sitting there around the motors. Again, we got some inductors sitting here, and this appears to be some sort of polyfuse, which is to shut off if you know, things are getting too hot or too much amperage going in there or whatnot. But that's really all that's going on with this board. So this is pretty much coming out. Just wanted to stop in and talk about that now that I got the part. Alright, so I was gonna, you know, put the motors in, and I went to start testing them to figure out which way they're spinning, and I realized all my batteries are dead, so they're on the charger. So right now I've gone and I'm cutting out this mag check switch because I don't see it necessary, and I'm just taking the wires and I'm just going to braid them up and then solder them together. So don't have much room to work here, but normally I'd use heat shrink over this, but I can't find where all my heat shrink went off to. Take my iron, clean it off. Just prime the iron up. And there we go. That's how you cut a switch out and fix the connection correctly. Let's get a little bit of electrical tape and wrap it around there just so we don't get any shorting on anything. And next I think I'm going to take a look at the top mag door switch. See what's going on with that one. Alright, and again we're back, and I started pulling apart this cage to get a better look at the switches. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring this close enough up to the camera where it's going to be visible, but we're going to give it a shot. On the, come on light, but on the backside where the switch is, we've got a couple of diodes, and interestingly enough, this second one here, actually, according to the writing on the board, which I almost guarantee the camera is never going to pick that up, but if it does, maybe you can kind of see the little symbol under there. But according to the board, this diode is actually in backwards, so, and that seems to be right along the positive line that traces back down to the acceleration switch, so that might actually be the reason why my acceleration switch doesn't work. Alright then, so I've gone ahead and flipped this diode around so that it's pointing the corrected direction according to what the diagram on the board is, which is pointing this way. And now we're going to go back to removing this switch. So basically, as I believe I noted in the original internals video, the native position for this switch is actually the way it's sitting right now. the switch only triggers when you actually open the jam door, and what that does is it switches from the blue running to the yellow, it switches the yellow running to the black, which is ground. Not yellow running to black, the blue running to the black, which is ground. So the native state on this is yellow to blue. So what I'm going to do is remove the ground lead, because I don't really need it anymore, and then take the blue lead, cut it down, and put it directly to the board where the yellow is. And I'll be back once I get that done. Alright, so I've got this cage all back together, and it's sitting in there nicely. So the next part that I want to move on to is talking about how I usually put my motors in. Now, to ensure that I don't put them in, solder them all up the wrong way, I always take a marker, put a little dot on the flywheel, take my batteries, and test it and see which way it's actually spinning. So put my native lead through there, and my positive lead should go on the other side, and it is indeed rotating clockwise, so the dart will be pulled and shot out. And we'll do the same thing for the other one. Just a little in there because I'm going to pull them out to solder them up, but put a little dart on the flywheel, and again, they should be the same. The inner one should be our negative, because this motor, we want to spin the same direction, or actually we want the bottom one goes counterclockwise, so it's actually reversed from the top, but because they're sitting back to back. So this is our negative side, this is our positive side. So I'll begin hooking that up, and I'll be back once I get this all soldered together. Alright, so I'm back here and I've got my wire cage nice and hooked up. Just taken a little lead and bridged these, and I've taken the original ground wire and soldered it to my negative side here, and I've taken the original white that's carrying the positive voltage and soldered it to the red here. And I've already tested this, you know, it still works fine. Even just stick the battery leads on here, and if I can hold them on. Motors work nicely. So this is going back in, and then the last thing we have to do is to just close this bad boy up and give it one overall test to make sure everything's working correctly. So I'll be back after I've ensured that everything's correct, and if I have anything to add or adjust, I'll make sure to note on it. So catch you guys in a minute. Alright, so I'm back again with more complications. My acceleration works fine, but after moving this around so much, I've actually broken the terminals on the little motor back here. So I'm going to try to desolder all this, clean it up, get the inductors off. One of the inductors actually looks like it might have blown, or maybe just cracked, but I'm going to have to see about taking this apart and cleaning it up and hopefully get this working again, or else, because I only ordered 2 motors, I didn't order a third, so. Alright, I'll be back in a moment. Alright guys, I got this back together, and I just want to prove that everything's working now. So I'm just going to hold some things down in place because I don't have it screwed in, but there, our acceleration's working. We push this lock down, and there we go. Blaster's working. So I'm going to get this back together, and I'll see you when I have this all put back together then. Alright guys, so I'm back, and we have our Rapidstrike together. Got some batteries loaded in, and I'm just going to quickly go over what I did to it again. First off, we replaced the motors with Solorbotics RM2s. They're the same motors that I've used in my, what is that blaster called? The Strife. And a lot of people have used them in Strifes and other such blasters. I've removed the electronic lock from the front that checks for a mag, and I found the issue that was causing the problem of the acceleration trigger not working. They soldered a diode in backwards, which would prevent current from flowing at all. So I fixed that. I had to make some adjustments to the rear motor as well because I cracked the PCB that was on it just from the force of moving it around so much. But other than that, there's really nothing else done. Oh yes, that's right. The actual electronic check for the jam door, I removed that as well because it's completely unnecessary. But here we go. Does rev now. And I have one of the nice clear mags. I've loaded it up with 9 fresh Elite darts. I'm just going to fire this off just to prove that it works. And there we go. That is my mod overview for what I have done to my Rapidstrike. So hope you guys enjoyed, and take care.